Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Jelaine. I would like to apologize in advance if you can hear if my voice is a little different. I was sick last week and I am feeling a little better now. Although the sickness actually originally came from Apollo, which is my youngest son. He was sick, I think, a week ago as well, and he's feeling better now. He's okay now. He's completely healed. He is back to his all he's back to his, normal self. And after he got better, his sickness was transferred to me and to my fiance. So here we are. So again, I apologize if my voice is like this. So for today's video, we're going to talk about a book series that I just finished. And this series has three books in it, and I think all of it is a murder mystery thriller crime book. So what I wanted to do is discuss my thoughts about each of the books in the series, and then we will talk about my thoughts about the whole series itself. Our topic for this video, and that would be A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. So I think this book deserves its own book review on my channel. I know there's a lot of booktubers who already posted a book review or any thoughts or anything about this book on their channels, but I wanted to share mine because I actually fell in love with this series. And I would like to apologize in advance if you could see a reflection in these books. Like I said from my previous vlog, I do wrap my books up in a plastic to protect them. And they have silica gel to avoid any moist in it because sometimes it's a little bit humid in our room. And I'm in the Philippines and it's always hot here, so we have to protect those babies, especially those the one in the back. They're not cheap. We all know that books are also expensive. Without further ado, let's dive into the books. Starting with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Now, all of these books do actually follow Pip Fitz-Amobi. This first book is actually about a murder that happened in her little town 5 years ago. Now, I think it all started with a project and wanted to solve the murder mystery as well. Because 5 years ago, Andy Bell was murdered. Her alleged murderer was Sal Singh, who is the boyfriend of Andy Bell. Now, Pip is not very convinced that Sal is the one who killed Andy. So, with her project, she decided to investigate further with Andy Bell's case. So, that's what she did here. She also partnered up with Sal's brother, which is Ravi Singh. So, this is where it all started. They actually teamed up together and they discovered a lot of things that Pip didn't know that will happen. And this is actually the book where I told myself that sometimes it's better to know nothing than to know a lot of things, just to be on the safe side. But Pip is not like that in this book, and she is very hard-headed, stubborn. She's quite persuasive as well. So she was able to solve the mystery, but you have to read the book for you to know how. For me, I gave this book 4 stars, and you might ask, why? Why did you give it a 4 stars? I thought you enjoyed it. So first of all, for me, I really find it enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. I really love Holly Jackson's writing just because of the plot twists in this book, and I was not expecting who is who and what is what and what's happening here. She discovered a lot of things in this book. The other thing I like about this book, the way Holly Jackson writes Pip's problem solving skills were really on point, which it's kind of unbelievable and unrealistic to a 16-year-old girl. But what can I say? She's an A grade student. So I think that already, you know, goes with her. I don't know. She's the kind of girl who research a lot of things. Like when she heard something and stuff like that, she focuses on that kind of word or that kind of scene and then search into it and its branches. So I think that's one of the reasons why she was able to discover a lot of things in this book because of her researching skills as well. I think that's all of it, to be honest. And the only reason I think why I gave it a 4 star is because it's unrealistic for me, to be honest. Because, like I said earlier, she's a 16-year-old girl who, just wanted to investigate on a 5-year-old murder case. And the way she solves the murder and, do a lot of things, the people she faced in this book is really dangerous. So let's say that it happened in real life. I won't, I think she won't be able to end the book the way this one ended it. So I would say this is a good book to start with. It's not a strong one, I would say, from the rest of the books in the series, but I really enjoyed it. It's just that it felt unrealistic for my part, especially she's just, like I said, she's just 16, and all the people she faced in this book were very, very dangerous people. And I wasn't expecting that she would be able to solve that murder mystery in a short period of time, to be honest. And I do actually recommend this book if you wanted to start reading or if you wanted to dive into thriller murder mystery books, because this book is not that, it's not that gory, it's not that dark, I would say, but there's a suspense in it. Um there's a suspense in it, but like I said, it's not super dark. Or if you wanted to, read super dark books, but you don't know how to get into them because you're scared, I would recommend you starting with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. So, and I'll let you know why in a bit after reviewing all the books. But for now, we are done with The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Book 1. And again, I gave it a 4 stars. Next on The Good Girl's Guide to Murder book is Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is a book 2 of the series. This book made me cry. I was on the edge of my seat most of the times. I can't wait to get into the end, or I can't wait to see what's gonna happen in this book, to be honest. And Holly Jackson's writing on this book is also great because it's a page turner. I don't know. I have a roller coaster ride of emotions about this book, and I think in the last few chapters of this book, it actually made me cry. So this book still follow Pip, who already have a podcast where her and Ravi created, which is a Good Girl's Guide to Murder podcast. This podcast is about the things that she discovered in book 1. I'm not sure if I could fully discuss that because it might be a spoiler. But yeah, in this book too, she follows all the things that happened from book 1, which is related to Andy Bell, and the things that revolve around it and why that happened, and other cases as well. Like I said, she discovered, I don't think solved it, but she was able to discover a lot of things that happened in book 1 that she continues doing in book 2. So in book 2 with her podcast, she mentioned that she's done with solving murder mystery cases or anything that involves, murder, killings, and stuff like that. But one day, someone close to her, Connor's brother Jamie, is missing. And she tried to ignore it at first. Connor asks help from her but completely declined it because she mentioned that Andy Bell's case is gonna be her last murder mystery and she doesn't want to do it again. So she went to the police to ask help and told her that they can't do anything. So Pip have to investigate why Jamie is missing. She has her little helper, which is Ravi. So I don't think this is a spoiler, but Ravi and Pip do end up being in a relationship together after book 1 until book 2 and until book 3. And she will discover a lot of things in this book. I gave this book 5 stars because it actually made me cry. And I can't put the book down when I started reading this book. And that's how good it is. And that's how I was so excited to know what's happening in this book. It's good. All I can say that this book is so good. There are some questions that was answered because I do have a lot of questions from book 1 that was not completely answered, that I was expecting an answer at the end of the book. I think maybe that's one of the reason why I gave it 4 stars. But this one did actually help a little because there's a little bit of an answer. There's a little bit of some of the answers I was looking for that's in book 1 was answered in book 2. However, there's still more questions left after reading book 2. So, what can I say about this book? This is definitely darker than book 1, but it's not super dark. I wouldn't say super super dark, but it's a little bit darker than the first book. And in this book, Pip's character already changed because what happened with book 1. It's like there's already a toll in her of, how she discovered these things and these hideous things she discovered. So this one is a little bit darker than the first book. And I think in this book, Ravi is kind of her anchor now. Ravi is her happy place after all the things that happened. I think because it's like an opposite attitude of Pip, which I think opposite attracts most of the time, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I love it. I actually love the relationship in this book and the way Holly Jackson um writes their feelings, like Ravi's feelings toward Pip and Pip towards Ravi. You would know that they really love each other. And I also love Ravi's humor in this book because he's not just the sweetest, because in book 1, he's the sweetest guy, nicest guy, very patient. And he's a little funny there. But in this book, in the second book, he's more humorous than book 1, and I think it's like his coping mechanism and to, lighten the mood. And I think that's how he can handle Pip. I love their character development. It's just that I would say Pip's character here completely changed. Less bubbly, I would say. She's more and more serious, not like in book 1, because in book 1 she was able to, I think I read some parts in the book where she mentioned a little bit of a joke here and there, but this one I don't think she said anything about little jokes anymore. Mostly it's Ravi who's lightening the mood between the two of them. I enjoyed it so much, and how, again, the plot twist is crazy in this book, and I wasn't expecting that kind of ending. But the ending, the last few chapters were really sad, and you definitely know on the third book that Pip will definitely and completely change because of the events and things that happen in this book. Last but not the least, on the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series is As Good as Dead. Now, this is my favorite book among the three because this book actually helped me answer a lot of questions since book 1. And you'd also be understand why the title of this book is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. At first, I thought it's in book 2, but it's really in this third book. And this book is definitely darker than the first 2 books and sadder as well because, like I mentioned earlier, Pip's character will definitely change because of what she's experienced in Good Girl Bad Blood. So in this book, everything will completely change. It's more darker. This is where the part where she's the one who is in danger and she has a stalker. So she will try to discover who this stalker is. While doing this, she's actually gonna get in trouble because this serial or this stalker is also a serial killer, and she wasn't expecting that she would experience it as well. So she solved a murder mystery here as well. I think one or two murder mystery. Actually, I still can't move on from this book. But trigger warning for this book: there's death, there's murder here, and a lot of things that might trigger you. It's very triggering. So read at your own risk. But I really love this. I really enjoy this as well. And this is one of my favorite books among the three. And like I said, it's super dark. It's darker than the first two books. I gave it 4 stars just because I think it's longer than necessary. There's actually a lot of details in here that I felt redundant. It didn't affect overall enjoyment for me, but there are some parts here that are kind of boring, and I think it's not really necessary in this book anymore. Holly Jackson wrote the same thing again, but it's just she's just paraphrasing what she said on the previous chapter. So I felt like she's just repeating all the information all over again. Overall, I really enjoyed it. It didn't really affect my enjoyment of this book. But I just gave it a 4 star just because I don't think it needs to be a 500 pages, 500 plus pages, to be honest. But in this book, you will also actually going to think, how did Holly Jackson know all of that things? What was she thinking? What was she researching? Because of the things and details that she mentioned in this book. I just can't comprehend it. Now, as a whole series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, do I like it? What's my rating as a series? And would I recommend it? So first, I wanted to talk about if I liked it. I gave the whole book 5 stars. The whole series 5 stars, just because it's it's enjoyable first of all, and I really enjoyed Holly Jackson's writing, especially the plot twists in this book. I have like a guess that this is the person responsible for whatever happened with Andy Bell, but ended up a different person. Same thing with book two and book three. So Holly Jackson's writing is also immersive. I do feel like I'm in the book as well while solving the murder mystery with Pip. There are some times that I felt like it's a series that I can't wait to watch for the next chapter of the book. But in reality, it's a book that I have to read, not to watch. A little side note, I was able to watch the series A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I quite enjoyed it. Though there are some changes, but that always happened with series or movies adaptation. So that's completely fine. And I think the book and the movie has its own personality, I would say, but I still like them both because it's the series is a good representation of the book, to be honest. But I think they left out a little bit of something in the book. But I can't wait for the second season. I think Holly Jackson is already writing the script for the second season of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I can't wait for that. But going back, I really love the book. I really enjoyed the whole series. And the only thing that I could say is it's a little, it felt unrealistic for my part because she started 16 years old solving this murder mystery case, and then her solving skills were like always on point. It could be real, I don't know, because my problem solving skills were not that on point. Sometimes I'm not the sharpest tool. Maybe that what happens if when you're a grade student, but I think that's just how I feel sometimes with the book. And it actually made me curious that she was able to solve the murder mystery case in a short period of time, to be honest. How Holly Jackson talks about the police, it's like they're not doing anything. In they're not doing anything. I don't think it's a spoiler, but there is a part in this book that Pip actually asked help from the police, or asked help from police to help her with regards of the things that's happening around her, especially in book 2 where Jamie was missing. She did ask help from them, but they mentioned that they can't do anything. So I don't think it's a hate towards, police people, but in this book it's clearly mentioned that police didn't do anything to help her at all. Like zero. It's like they're useless. And also Pip, she's really mad towards police because of how many times she asked for help and they didn't believe her, especially on book 3, because book 3 she did ask help with regards to her stalker, but she felt like she was discarded because of what happened to her with book 2, and they think she's just saying things, imagining things, which it do happen in real life. And the way she write it here is, it's really hard. I don't You can really feel how these people ignore this kind of situation that is happening to someone who's being stalked. And you will also feel as well how the justice system here is not quite fair because of what happened to Pip. But then again, this is just a fictional book, but I have seen a lot of videos on TikTok and Instagram where there's a lot of books are being banned because of their political views. And I think this book is a little bit political, but on the police kind of side, which it do happen in real life. So I think that's one of the highlights of this series, that Pip gradually hated police. And I really like Pip, to be honest, her character. Though something happened on the third book that I really can't spoil. But I do love Pip, her personality. She's very brave in this book. She's very strong. She always thinks ahead. And all I can say is I learned a lot of things from her. Research and research and research. That's all I can say. If you heard something, research it. Even the smallest details, you have to research it for you to, you know, solve something or whatever. But yeah, I love her personality and I love Ravi. Ravi is, I would say, Ravi became her anchor throughout the story, and Ravi is very humorous. He's very sweet. He's very kind as well. And I can't believe that they've just dated for a year in this book, and all of that things happened to her. So that's all. And also another, note. I really loved also her relationship, her relationship development with her friends, especially with Jamie, Connor, Nat, Kara, and Naomi. So they have this character that they're able to just look eye to eye and know, it's like they're just talking through their eyes without talking technically. So I really love that kind of character. I really enjoyed this book. I can't, say anything else, but I really loved it. And do I highly recommend it? Of course, I do highly recommend this book. And like I said earlier, I do recommend this book for anyone who wanted to start it and get into thriller, mystery, crime, murder book, because this book starts, you know, it gets darker gradually. It's not like a surprise, dark kind of theme. So I think this is best for anyone who wants to start reading this kind, who wants to get into murder mystery books. That's all for me, and thank you so much for staying with me. And before I let you go, I wanted to know, do you like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series? Yes and no, and why not? I wanted to know that all in the comment section below. And please don't forget to subscribe and like to my videos. And thank you so much again. I'll see you on my next vlog. Bye.